All right, let's talk about something we all think we know. We're going to take a classic symbol of American identity and peel back its layers. And trust me, what's underneath might just surprise you.
You know the saying, right? As American as apple pie. We've all heard it, we've probably all said it. It's the ultimate shorthand for something that feels like home, something that feels truly, deeply American.
But here's the thing, what if it isn't? What if this dessert that we hold up as this great national icon doesn't come from America at all? That's the question we're digging into today. So where did this story really begin?
Well, it wasn't in some cozy colonial kitchen. Nope. You've got to go way back. We're talking centuries earlier, across the ocean, to 14th century England. Yeah, you heard that right. The story of apple pie, it starts in the Middle Ages. The first recipe we know of for a pie with apples shows up in an English cookbook way back in the 1390s. Now, compare that to the first American cookbook with an apple pie recipe. That wasn't until 1796. Do the math. That's a gap of almost 400 years.
And you can just forget about the sweet, cinnamony dessert we know today. The original was actually a savory mix of apples, pears, figs, and raisins. They used saffron to give it color and baked it in this super thick pastry shell they called a coffin, which was really more of an edible container than the flaky crust we all love. And notice what's missing? Sugar. It was incredibly rare and expensive back then. So before this English invention ever dreamed of sailing to the New World, it went on a little European tour, with different countries putting their own spin on it. Over in the Netherlands, for instance, two main styles took hold. You've got the classic lattice top apple tart, and then there's the apple kruimel tart, which has a crumb or streusel topping. And yeah, that second one, that's what Americans now call Dutch apple pie.
Then you've got the French, who in classic French fashion literally turned the whole idea on its head with the tarte tatin. For this, the apples get caramelized first in a pan with butter and sugar, then the pastry goes on top. After it bakes, you flip the whole thing over. It's a completely different and, let's be honest, amazing approach.
And let's not forget Sweden, where the pie became something much closer to an apple crumble. They often use breadcrumbs or rolled oats for the topping instead of a pastry crust. So you see, by the time it was ready to cross the ocean, apple pie was already a truly international affair.
Which finally brings us to its arrival in America. The apple pie wasn't invented here, it was imported. It was brought over by English, Dutch, and Swedish colonists who all had their own versions of the recipe tucked away. But making one in the colonies? That wasn't so easy. See, the only native apples were these tiny, super sour crab apples. Not exactly great for baking. The colonists had to plant seeds from Europe and then wait years for the trees to grow. And even then, the top priority for those apples wasn't pie, it was cider. In fact, savory meat pies were way more common back then.
So that begs a really interesting question. You're in a new land, resources are tight, and maybe there are no fresh apples for months. What do you do when you get a craving for apple pie?
While you get creative, you invent this, the mock apple pie. This is a monument to pure culinary genius, born completely out of necessity. Get this. You take simple crackers like Ritz crackers famously, break them up, add sugar, cinnamon, and lemon juice, and bake it all in a crust. The crackers absorb everything and create a texture and flavor that is shockingly similar to cooked apples. It was a lifesaver on long sea voyages and was even promoted by Ritz back in the 1930s.
Okay, so if the pie isn't from America, and for a long time Americans could barely even make it, how in the world did it become the ultimate symbol of the USA? Let's get into how an English dessert was forged into a national icon.
To really get it, let's start with just one number, 19%.
That's the percentage of Americans who say apple pie is their #1 favorite. It's the undisputed champ. Its popularity is just off the charts. And to put that in perspective, just look how it stacks up against its biggest rivals, pumpkin and pecan. It's not even close. For a huge number of people, it isn't just a dessert, it's the dessert. This iconic status was really built piece by piece in the 20th century. You had newspapers in 1902 connecting pie eating to American strength. Then, during World War II, it became this huge symbol of the home front. And by the 70s, advertisers had made it part of the Holy Trinity: baseball, hot dogs, and apple pie.
And it all came together in one incredibly powerful phrase: for Mom and apple pie. When soldiers were asked why they were fighting, that was the stock answer. It wasn't just about a country, it was about fighting for the simple, wholesome values that this dessert now represented.
So when you boil it all down, here's the deal. The journey of apple pie is kinda the American story in a nutshell. It started as a 14th century English recipe, got tweaked and changed by immigrants, and was eventually transformed into a uniquely American symbol through a powerful mix of pride, patriotism, and some really good marketing.
Which leaves us with one last thought. The story of apple pie really shows how culture gets borrowed, blended, and totally rebranded. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other national symbols that we just take for granted have their own surprising, complicated